might have 2 or 3 process pumps, 2 that are doing the work, 1 that's a backup, and then you might have 10 metering pumps that are dosing the different chemicals.
So sorry, say it again. So 10 metering pumps for how many process pumps?
This is just one example. So you might have 3 big process pumps. Two of them are doing all the work. They're moving the fluid, and the third one is usually a backup pump. When they do maintenance, they need a backup pump. And then you might have 10 metering pumps that are dosing the different chemicals. Sometimes all the 10 metering pumps are working. Sometimes it's only 2, depending upon what you need in the process.
Got it. And is there any difference in application by, well, obviously there is maybe, by the pressure, by size of pressure in metering pumps. So we have, even on the slide, we have like from 100 to 9,000, one type, and then up to 20,000.
Yep. So I think where you have other key specs, I would list the flow capability there. So that will be very important for process pumps. What is the maximum flow and minimum flow? And then for metering pumps, it's the maximum flow and the turn down. The turn down is, 1,000 to 1 or 10 to 1.
Yeah. And what is this maximum minimum flow? What is it? Is it like amount of volume of water processed in a okay.
The amount of, so for the metering pumps, it's going to be it could be 200 liters per minute is the maximum. And then the minimum is the turn down. So if I can turn it down 10 to 1, then it's 2 liters per minute, or 20 liters per minute. For process pumps, it's going to be, what's the minimum flow versus the maximum flow of that process pump.
Okay.
That would be important in selection, in categorization.
Okay. I think for LMI we spoke about kind of preferences. Yeah. So this is related to business model. So what are the key success factors here? So for LMI, we understand this is commoditized product, this is price and distribution, and you need to be local. Now for Milton Roy, I guess it's different.
For Milton Roy, you're looking at market, like what are the growth opportunities?
Well, it's maybe more or less, yeah. This is the second question, growth opportunities, but the first question probably, what are the key success factors now? How do you sell?
So they have global brand recognition. They're known as leaders in this space. They have a pretty strong channel globally. There's still a lot of relationship selling. I think a big opportunity for them would be better aftermarket. Let me think. Well, let me go back to your question. So what makes them successful? It's their leaders, their brand recognition, their channel. Their history in the space. They're known as experts in dosing or metering. Metering and dosing is the same thing. In Europe, they call it dosing. In the United States, they call it metering.
Okay.
Okay.
So but
growth. Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, just wanted to. No, this is Milton Roy, but overall, how do they compete? Do they compete on distribution channels? Do they compete on price? Do they compete on quality? What's the competition in the market?
So brand recognition and their expertise, channel. They have a strong channel. They're very good at price. They're not the lowest, but they're probably above the middle. They have a very full line of products. They're probably the most complete line of products. They have bundling capability. They have systems capability. Systems are important here, like building out the system. And then all the other things, they got the appropriate materials of construction. They cover the pressure and all the flows.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
Okay, and then maybe growth opportunities. So what
Growth.
we went.
Okay.
Yeah.
So growth here is a little different than LMI. Where they're gonna see growth is as oil prices increase. Oil and gas, petrochemicals, chemicals are going to spend more money on pumps. Another big factor will be what happens in the Middle East. So dependent, politically right now, there's a lot of pressure on the Middle East, Iran, Saudi Arabia. So there's tremendous opportunity in oil and gas for them in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Secondarily is Africa. So Africa is on the verge of becoming the next wave of oil exploration and oil development. So there's an opportunity that's 5 to 10 years out. And then what was the other one? And then market growth. Again, as markets increase, they're going to do better.
And the question here, do they have their prices protected as well? So this is inflation growth or something more?
No, what I mean is like if as the oil prices increase, the oil market will spend more money. The same is true with petrochemicals. The same is true with power generation. If there's an increase in power requirements in a particular nation, that market will grow. They'll spend more money, and Milton Roy will benefit from that.
Got it. Got it.
There's some minor technology stuff they could do. I know the other one is a big one. Okay, so I think they could also benefit from building more capability in aftermarket. So what I mean there is building out more service centers closer to their bigger customers, trying to get the service and aftermarket contracts of their big customers. I don't think they have the footprint that they need in order to capture all of the service contracts.
And by the way, how would you assess the share of revenue from aftermarket versus competition?
In this world, it's generally pretty high because parts do need to be replaced to keep accuracy. 30% maybe of their total revenue.
That's for Milton Roy, you mean?
Yes.
And how it's versus competition? You say that they are underperforming here.
So for Milton Roy, I'm saying 30% of their revenue is aftermarket. So you're saying market share for service?
No, share of revenue. Share of revenue
is about 30%. Yeah.
And for competition, for other companies?
I'd say it's probably about the same. 30% of their revenue is aftermarket. There are a lot of replicators